Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my podcast. I really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. The Emmys were this past weekend, California in the spotlight. And a lot of people there asking the question, is Hollywood dead? So many of the TV shows and movies, the productions have moved out of Hollywood. Economy is not in good shape, especially when it comes to the entertainment industry. So many people out of work. So many people like living in their cars, I found. I talked to regular people for this episode, which you're going to hear from. I also talked to Mel Gibson. I wanted to get sort of the full spectrum of what's going on in California when it comes to the movie industry and the economy. I'm getting into all of it in this edition of Brian Entin Investigates. Hey guys, thanks again for checking out my podcast. This is a story that I've been looking into for a while. The big question of, is Hollywood dead? There are so many TV shows and movies that are not made in Los Angeles anymore. And everybody just thinks of Hollywood as being the entertainment capital of the world. But behind the scenes, that has slowly been changing over time. COVID took a big hit on the industry there. The fires, of course, that we all saw happen there, but also the economic policies. The tax incentives are better in some ways in places like Georgia and Texas now to make movies and TV shows. So a lot of productions have moved from California to those other states. I was on a movie lot as part of this story that I've been looking into. I got access to this one production lot, and I'm not going to say the name of it, but it was sort of shocking walking around. And that's what some of the workers told me. They're like, come here, walk around, you'll see the deal for your own eyes. And it was just empty. They said that there used to be people walking all over the place here, different workers for all the different parts. I mean, people who do the try cleaning and the people who do the catering, and just movement all over the place. And walking around there when I was in LA, it was just empty. Inside the studios, it was empty. I mean, this used to be a bustling soundstage, and this is what it looks like now. And I'm told that this is what many of the studios across Los Angeles look like now. California Governor Gavin Newsom did sign a new film and TV tax credit, but many industry insiders say it's yet to make a big difference, again, especially because of California's cost of living, because of the fires, because of what COVID did. It's just sort of like a perfect storm. There's even people that are sleeping in their cars that had really, really good jobs in Los Angeles. And I'm going to talk to a couple in a minute in this pod. You'll see later in the episode who had great jobs in the entertainment industry and are literally out of work now and on the verge of literal financial collapse. But first, I want to share with you an interview that I did with Mel Gibson about what he thinks. I mean, he's obviously lived in LA his whole life. He's shooting a movie right now in Italy. And I talked to him about what he thinks is going on, the way that the industry is changing. I was just walking around one of the studio lots out here,
Yeah.
right outside the car here, and it's just dead. I mean, there's no one there. Everything is
hmm
empty. There's not even anyone really walking around. What do you think is going on here?
Yeah. Well, it was like that when I left to come over to Italy to work on film, and it was already like an episode of the Twilight Zone. You know, places were deserted, and for more than one reason. What's going on there? Well, the industry is dying there. You're seeing some kind of atrophy, and uh, from which it may or may not recover. And I think there are many causes for that, you know. Um, Mainly, I mean, I'll give you an example. I wanted to shoot for a day in Los Angeles to do a reshoot on a film that I'd done, which I had to shoot in Vegas because that was more cost effective. And the tax incentives there weren't even that great. I would think they were like 15% or something, but it was still easier and more cost effective to shoot in Nevada. But I had to do a reshoot on there, and I thought, well, it's only a day shoot. I'll pick it up here in Los Angeles, and it was cheaper more cost effective to fly the entire American crew, buy them air tickets, fly them to Bulgaria, house them, feed them for 3 days, and do the shooting there for 3 days rather than to just shoot for one day locally in Los Angeles where they all lived.
You ever check your bank account and realize you're being charged for a subscription you forgot about? Some of the companies, I really think they are just hoping that we forget about those old subscriptions that we don't even use anymore. Last month, I found out I was still paying for this digital magazine that I haven't read in over a year. That's why I want to introduce you to today's sponsor, Rocket Money. Rocket Money is an all-in-one personal finance app. It helps you cancel subscriptions, lower bills, manage your money better. And what I love about Rocket Money is how easy it makes managing your finances, especially subscriptions. Once you connect your bank account, it pulls all your subscriptions into one list. I just tapped the ones I didn't need anymore, and Rocket Money took care of the rest. It was literally just a couple of taps. And get this, it also helped lower my internet bills without me having to sit on hold with customer service. Total game changer. You can also set up a custom budget in the app. It breaks down top spending categories and gives you alerts before bills hit or if your balance is running low. So to save money and spend less, join over 5 million members using Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/Brian Entin or click the link in the description to get started for free. That's rocketmoney.com/Brian Entin.
It was more cost effective to take them all over there, have jet lag, spend for 3 days, and pick it up that way. So, I mean, that's pretty common, I think, and that's sort of, in a nutshell, tells you the story of the whole industry. There, it's that it's being outsourced to other places where it's cheaper to shoot, more cost effective, better tax incentives, like Atlanta or New York or Bulgaria, or even I'm over here in Italy at the moment. You know, they have better incentives, and the food is better, and it costs about a third as much as it does in California. See, the cost of living skyrocketed as well. Everything's very expensive, and even just the people that work, all the people that work on film are finding it hard to make a living there and pay their way with the cost of living the way it is. It's just gone to hell altogether. I blame it on the leadership of the state of California. There's other things that came into play. I mean, there was a big strike that slowed everybody down, and then on the heels of that, you had COVID, which was a real joy, and then you had the fires, the wildfires, and I think that was totally mismanaged by our leaders in California, and I think that um, this confluence of things just eroded the industry there to the point the production's down everywhere. And it's like, but people have, if you want to make a living, if you want to feed yourself and your family, or, whatever it is you have to do, you have to go elsewhere to find the work. So, the people with the expertise, and I don't mean just, directors, producers, and all that sort of stuff. I mean it right across the board, right down to the guy that makes the coffee for the, I mean, they have to go other places, and they have done, and they've taken their expertise with them. And the states where they've gone have benefited by their knowledge and their talents. And we've gone wanting where we are. Now, I know Newsom has come up with some kind of tax incentives, but has anybody seen any of that yet? Did we see any water in the reservoir? Did we see him use the money he was given to clean up, manage the forestry and stuff like that? You know, did we see, why did they defund the fire department? There's it's just it's a real mess. And a lot of the people who once kept that industry alive and thriving have left for greener pastures, and you can't blame them. And I just think the industry is dying there. And it used to be the mecca when I went there. Gosh, years ago, I was working there. The place was just booming through the 80s, 90s, even after the turn of the millennium, it was still cooking. But sadly, it's all gone to hell in a handbasket. And I blame our leaders.
I can't believe that it's cheaper for you for a 1 day shoot to fly your crew all the way around the world to Bulgaria.
Yeah, for 3 days and
Live
take
in
care of
LA.
all the. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Prohibitively expensive. A lot of red tape, a lot of hoops to jump through, and even if you brought in incentives, it would still be expensive, more expensive. I mean, just the cost of an apple is 3 times as much as it is in Rome. It's just, that's just the way it is. Everything's going against it.
I mean, you know all of these people, like you mentioned, the people who get the coffee, the people who work on the
Yep.
lots, the people who drive the cars. I mean, is it upsetting to you on a personal level to see this happening?
Yes, it is because these are people that you befriend. And look, everyone is important in that industry. I mean, the person that puffs your makeup up and the guy that puts the lights up and the grip and the dolly grips and all that stuff, camera guys. I mean, you know, the director is merely a traffic cop and he adjudicates and judges, what parts of people's talents he wants to use. And those people are they're not being served at all. It's untenable, I think, to live with the cost of living the way it is in California at the moment, and with an industry that's like just, you know, the governor did not ever level the playing field. So the other states like Atlanta and all these other Texas, everybody, they're taking the work. So, and that's okay. I'm happy for them because now they're figuring out how to do it well, and the industries are sort of booming over there.
I was out there with you at your house, sad site there that burned down during the fires.
Yeah.
Do you think, I mean, will you come back to LA? Will this be your home forever, or are you just done with it?
I'm not done with it. I mean, look, my heart is there. I think it's a beautiful state. Unfortunately, it's just been mismanaged in the worst possible way by our present administration, and something needs to be done about it. I know that Newsom bought some kind of tax incentives in, but if they were that good, people wouldn't be leaving, would they now? Or I don't even know if they've kicked in. It's like watching paint dry. So it takes so long for anything to filter through there. And there was no sense of urgency in regard to the industry, which I think there should be. I mean, it used to be the mecca of filmdom and television, but it's not anymore. And I doubt that they'll recover, or if they do, it's going to take a long time.
How's your shoot going in Italy?
Great. I'm in pre production and preparing well. And cameras will start rolling soon. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, there was so much excitement about the first movie. I think people are going to be very, very excited.
Yeah, well, it's been a long time coming. Uh, took me 8 years to write it with my brother and Randall, and it's coming. I think it'll be surprising. It surprised the hell out of me, so that's good. Anyway, but it's going well, and the reason I'm here is because creatively, this is the best place to do it. This is the old world, and you actually have real backdrops. And there's people here who worked on the last one. I mean, maestros. So the crews and the artistry here is phenomenal. So, but it always has been. I mean, you're talking the Roman Empire here, so it's pretty cool. Um, I love it. But hey, the reason I'm not in California, I could make a living there, but I couldn't. You see, you can't really get anything up and running there. It's very difficult. It's cost prohibitive. It's a lot of hoops to jump through, and it's not like it used to be.
Yeah, just growing up, you'd always hear Hollywood. I don't know. That's where the movie stars are. That's where the movies are made. It's
Yeah,
weird being here now and seeing it like this.
yeah, it is weird. Yeah, Like I say, it's like Night of the Living Dead there now. But it is in many respects, not just the film industry. Everything's suffering. Every industry's suffering. I think that Newsom and Bass and people who are holding the reins there have done a very successful job at sort of rotting the entire fabric of society there. I mean, it's not just the film industry. Look at the lawlessness. Look at every industry, you know, and how ill-equipped we were to deal with emergencies, and
Hmm.
you know, they're letting the side down. Maybe you could get some decent leadership in there. It might pick up. Somebody would actually do something to help the state of California and not injure it, because you couldn't do it better if you tried. Which leads me to believe that they're probably trying to do it. For what purpose? I don't know. For their own gain? I don't know. Is it a scam? I don't know. But it certainly looks like it's purposeful, because
Okay.
the place has fallen into a kind of chaotic neediness.
What about you being an ambassador? Didn't President Trump?
Yeah. Yes, I found out after you did. You read it in the newspaper. People started calling. So you're they should I call you Mr. Ambassador? And I'm like, let me see here for a minute. And then I read the article and I thought, oh, I guess I've been appointed as an ambassador. And man, there is if to be effective as an ambassador, first you have to be recognized in some way, and there's no real mechanism that allows for that there. And the other thing is that you have to come up with some really good ideas, and then you have to jump over all the hurdles in the way and the wreckage. Um, it's not impossible, but it would be a 24/7 job for years uh, to resuscitate what's there. And I think even the incentives that Newsom's bought in, I don't know when they're set to arrive. It's like, you know, like the funds will be there in the morning, like the water was in the reservoir. So, is it coming? Who knows? When will it come? Is it too late? I think it's too late. I think even if you apply it now, the industry's been damaged to an extent where, where do you apply it even?
Yeah. So Mel Gibson, I was actually out at Mel Gibson's house after the wildfires, and it's a long story how I got connected with Mel Gibson. It's through a mutual friend and someone I work with, but I was able to go out. It was terrible. I mean, to see his house, so many of them were burned down right after the wildfires, and then to sort of get this update on the state of the industry. But and obviously Mel Gibson has a lot of money, so he's going to be okay. But there are a lot of people who don't. People, cameramen, makeup artists, and that's the situation with this couple that you're going to hear from now, who have really had everything, pulled out from under them. They lost their home in the fires, but also haven't been able to find work because of the state of the industry in California. BJ and Adrian, thank you for taking the time to talk with us. I'll start with you, Adrian. You're a makeup artist, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so when did things sort of start to go downhill in terms of jobs and that sort of thing?
Really, the industry has been hurting for quite a while. So I think we were hurting before COVID, and then COVID was just kind of the nail in the coffin. And then as things felt like maybe we might be trying to get some work coming along, then the fires happened. So we've just kind of had this trifecta of COVID, then we had the strikes, we had negotiations, and then we had the fires. So unfortunately, our industry has taken a huge hit, and it's been for like the last 5 years plus.
How bad has it gotten?
It's really bad. People are, people can't afford to eat. They can't afford to pay their bills. They're having to move out of their homes or having to sell their homes. We've unfortunately also lost um, a lot of our industry friends to mental health and suicide. And I mean, it's been horrific for the film industry, truly.
And you're a cameraman, BJ. Is it a similar situation, would you say?
Yeah, I mean it's funny because when I first got into this business, I used to not ever think about like the next job because it always felt like I'd be on a job, we'd be doing a feature or something, and then like a month into like finishing that, it's like, oh, and then so and so has this movie coming up in like 3 weeks, and it's going to go this long, and then you jump on that job, and then you'd hear about something coming, and then so like there was many years where you just kind of felt like you were always rolling into another job and you weren't so concerned about it. And then when all this stuff happened with COVID and with the strikes and everything, going on and productions, going elsewhere, it's gotten less and less to now I'm to the point where I'm like, okay, this job's about to end. I really hope I hear from somebody. And then it takes, weeks, months, whatever, and I have friends that haven't worked in 6 months, 12 months, and they're people are going, oh, I'm starting to look elsewhere for like what am I going to do now? I got to work. I got to pay for this mortgage. I got to pay for, my kids and things like that. And they have to look for other jobs elsewhere where this used to be a very, solid, stable place to find work. And you were always like working to where it's now like feast or famine and everybody's just, grabbing for the one job that pops up. And it's like a massive competition now, which totally used to not be that way.
So what are you guys doing to get by?
For me, I've actually, luckily a lot of my DP friends and crew guys have been working, and I've been like supplementing like with commercials. I've been able to work on that, and I've had some feature work, but it's all like traveling stuff. It's nothing that here in California that's been keeping us afloat. I've been one of the luckier people working.
Well, but also want to just add to that we've been chasing work. So
Definitely chase work.
BJ and I, we've been together, married for a long time. And for the past 5 years, like, I don't even think I've really seen much of him at all because we have to figure out how to pay our bills and just like everybody else. And so we just kind of chase work wherever it comes in whatever state or out of the country. And it's kind of just been a carny lifestyle with trying to um, salvage the careers that we have and then also try to figure out how to make everything else work. And it's been really difficult. So, it's not that we're in town and we're working, it's we're going wherever we can get work.
Yeah, wherever the job kind of appears, and you're really just like hoping for the best. It's not like it used to be.
That must be hard not seeing each other
Well,
as
definitely toll on the relationship because and it's just you don't see each other, and then when you get back home, you're like, okay, we're back in it, and then you're trying to get everything kind of like settled in the things that you missed while you're gone and the things that Adrian takes care of. And like, luckily her and I are a good team, but it's tough because you are like gone and you are like, I'm dealing with work to financially keep things afloat. Adrian's trying to keep things, with what's going on right now with our loss of our house. She's been vital in taking care of that stuff. But, it's a bummer that we're not together and I'm not here in California being able to work and also be able to jump in when she needs a helping hand with things that are going on. It's really, it's not ideal.
have you thought about just leaving California like permanently, like just, leaving it behind?
I
I
think it's like, what would we do though? I mean, this is kind of what we've planned our whole lives about. This is what our careers are. So where else would we go? I think you would just be in the same boat where you would still be chasing work. So I don't know how that would help us. And plus, we like where we live. We're in a generational home. We have roots here. We don't really want to have to leave if we don't have to. And we've been trying to make that work by traveling. So it's been difficult.
Also, this is Hollywood.
Yeah.
This is where, like we look, when you go on location or you have to leave to go work places, there's always some place that's like, oh, it's raining or thunder and lightning are striking. You got to shut everything down and, or hey, we're going to go shoot in a sand dune pit because we need sand dunes. Okay, well, cut to California. You have beaches, you have cities, you have deserts, you have forests, you have mountains, you have snow, surf, you have every kind of thing you need to get all here. And that's a really good reason why the film industry was, so great here because no matter what your location was, you always had some place you could go to emulate it, even if it wasn't a California like situation. If you needed like some Martian landscape, you go out to Ridgecrest and you're out there by, the Trona Pinnacles and like shooting some cool stuff out there. California has such an amazing, diverse shooting place, and the weather here is great. You don't have to wait on rain. It doesn't rain much, or you don't have to wait on lightning and thunder or whatever's going on. So it's just, this is why it was such a great, place to shoot. And, then unfortunately now it's all about tax incentives, and being cheaper and making content. It's not about that anymore. It's all about just the money of it all. And it's a bummer. And, I get it, but at the same time, it's like this is an ideal place to shoot.
Is there anyone that you guys blame or are upset with? I mean, you talk about tax incentives. It seems like, Georgia, Texas, they've kind of, in a way, outsmarted some of these California politicians, it seems like, and kind of snuck in with better incentives. And I mean, are you mad at anyone in terms of like politicians or
I'm not mad at anyone politician wise. Like, that's the thing. That's the thing. I don't like to call out certain people because some people are trying some things to help, the California gets incentives back, and it's a hard gamble, I think. And plus California is very expensive to shoot. Like permits, like just trying to get permits, it's crazy, like California needs to work on like getting filmmakers so they can actually obtain permits for a cheaper rate, and it just needs to be competitive with other places like Georgia, New York, New Jersey, places like that. It just needs to be able to be shootable, not so unaffordable.
Yeah. I think Los Angeles really lost its footing, as a global film hub. And it's partly due to insufficient incentives and high permitting costs and long timelines and, just the heavy paperwork of all of it. So it basically just pushed producers to look to make films elsewhere that was cheaper solutions. And when you can fly out an entire crew and shoot overseas or shoot in other states, that really speaks loudly for, how we've kind of just lost our incentives here to make it profitable. And so that's where we're trying to get back.
Yeah.
what was it like back in the day? I mean, were you just slammed?
Slammed all the time. It was so fun. You're working. I mean, we have very grueling hours in the film business, and we work like 12 to 18 plus hours a day. And we'll do that for 3 to 6 months or, however long the project is. And then when you're working, then you're already backlogged with other work. Like, okay, I'm going to end this and then I'm going to go on to this. And then you just have work constantly and the flow is coming in. And then we saw that kind of dissipate and then dissipate even more. And then, we had the strikes and then COVID happened and then everything shut down. And then we had strikes and we had negotiations. So it just was like, and everything just came to a stall and a halt, and our incentives are so bad. And so, that's why I think that hopefully we can get some of this stuff going, but we really need uncapped incentives. We need better filming permits that are financially feasible. And, we also need to include the indie films and not just the big blockbuster ones. And we're hoping we can get that back. We'll see. I don't know.
I mean, they've definitely tried making our incentives much better. I'll give them credit for that. And there needs to be a federal one too. And it just needs to be more competitive, and try to bring back our film industry like it used to be here.
Do you think they just took it for granted? Like in terms of, I mean, because it seems like there were little signs that this was happening as other states started to give incentive.
Oh yeah, no, we definitely would see that. Then you'd always get, a certain producer would call and they're like, oh yeah, we're shooting here again, or we're going to go back to this state again because we're saving money. And it's all about, really, it's all about that money. And I get it. Like you have to have money to make movies, and the budgets do, kind of make that heads in that direction when you're having to deal with that situation. I get it, but it's just hopefully, like I said, we can get California back on track and be able to, like, for people like me and Adrian, like that lost our homes too. I would kill to have work here right now as it used to be, where I can be here helping out with the rebuild and be able to make decisions and like physically be here to see things, where it's not like me being in some other country calling Adrian and she's like needing my help with certain things and I'm not there to physically see it. It's very important.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
Country, he's on a different time schedule too, so
that's hard.
he's sleeping when I'm waking up, and then we're trying to coordinate phone calls, and I like have a crisis with the rebuilds or the Army Corps, or someone did something to the property, or it's just like it's such a mess, and nothing with the house and the loss and all the red tape, just even with that, has been a nightmare. And so, not having your partner here and having that load to manage by yourself, and then throw in a couple surgeries, which I had on top of that. And so it's like, it's been, we're like two ships in the night on different paths, and it's really tough. And really, really tough. And it would be really nice to have my husband home like it used to be, and we can just work. And, all of us are hoping we can get back to that.
Yeah, I was just thinking when you were talking, I mean, losing your house in the fire would be bad enough, like, but to deal with that on top of not having work, it just seems like impossible. It's hard, you know?
It adds an underlying stress to of how am I going to be able to afford this? You know what I mean? Like and the way that prices are all going up and the way that everything's going right now, it's just like it seems like if we don't get started now, we're going to be in a real, shit show when it comes down to this rebuild. And, got to work. We got to afford to be able to build the things we have to do. We have to, this is not a cheap state to build in. That's for sure. We go anywhere else. We look at home prices all the time. We're on location in different places, and we're just like blown away by the fact that like a house that's like massive two-story house and some, like in Texas somewhere, or whatever, costs like, what a house
Affordable,
millions of dollars. It's like $500,000 there, $275,000 home that's massive, like in some other state. Here, it would cost like a fortune. So it's just kind of like it's rough to see that kind of thing, and then just the rebuild of it all. It's like, okay, well, just got to keep going, got to keep moving forward, just got to keep, working, which is going to end up driving me into the ground, and it's tough.
The thing of it is, though, is that the materials and all things don't need to be, as um, as expensive, I guess. I mean, that's the whole problem that we're facing, is that if we don't get our permits soon, which the city said they were going to streamline them and they have not, then we're going to be bottlenecked with all the thousands of other houses, and no one's going to build. There's going to be no materials. There's going to be no contractors, no workers. It just isn't going to be able to happen for anybody. So we're all just going to be stuck. And then what? All of us, most of us are underinsured, or we're just trying to figure out how we're going to even afford it. And when people say, well, then why don't you move out of California? Like, they're just grossly misunderstanding that, again, we came from a generational house. So we don't want to move. We are being forced to, but we don't want to. We want to rebuild and have our family legacy and live where we have called home for the last couple of decades, So there's just a lot of red tape, and it's been really, really difficult trying to navigate that without really any full direction of how that's going to be feasible.
And so if California got jobs back and we started booming again, it would be great. That's the dream, right?
Well, I hope that happens for you guys. Both seem you're so talented, and obviously you're survivors. I mean, like I said, I can't imagine losing my house in a fire like that and dealing with all the job stuff at the same time. So I
A
really,
real good 2025.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully I can interview you guys again in like a year. Like it'll be like a success story, you know? Okay.
We hope so. Yeah,
I'm
And
sure.
those building permits, right?
Yeah, I'll keep my fingers crossed for the building permits, but thank you guys so much.